us pay attention and be still. Help us do the things you prompt us to, and help us learn from you.
We'll be looking at the matter of vows. The Hebrew word neder, N-E-D-E-R, is from a root that means to dedicate or to bind one's self. Vows were always voluntary. We look at the book of Numbers chapter 30, verse 2.
When a man makes a vow to the Lord, or takes an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he must not break his word, but must do everything he said.
He must not break his word, but must do everything he said. He's the one that took the oath, that made the vow, and bound himself by a pledge. He bound himself by a pledge. He bound himself. See a rope. He took it and tied his own hands. You can be bound by the words of another. What you call a command or instruction is a binding. Someone just tied you. Nobody should eat anything till we have satisfied my vengeance against the Philistines. King Saul. He bound the people. So nobody ate anything except his son Jonathan, who did not hear it. An authority figure can bind you. I want everyone to be in here by 2 p.m. Anyone that is not inside should not be let in anymore. You've been bound. It's not a choice. The person at the door, you don't have a choice. Your hands are tied. You understand the expression? You understand a bit about having your hands tied, but do you understand that you can tie your own hands? The concept of a vow is that you've made a pledge which binds you. With your own hands, you chained yourself. The question, of course, is going to be, is this acceptable to God? Is this a good thing? In the light of different things, we're going to look at the matter of vows and the place it should play. In this house, I can say from the beginning, for years, I have taught one of the earliest things many people learned when they came here was don't make vows. In some form or understanding, that's what they retained. And people who used to make many vows, wherever they were, stopped making vows. It represents a good purpose, and that's why you were taught it. We will refer to that as we're going on. Unfortunately, like all good things, it can be carried to an extreme, and some people may have come to the place where they think that making vows is sinful. As we look at scripture, we will see what the Bible says, not your misunderstanding. And I believe that by the time we are done, many of us will find out that the one reason you have been unable to find victory in certain areas is simply because you never make a vow. And a vowless life actually implies a life that never commits itself fully. Because a vow compels full commitment. The book of Ezra chapter 10. The people have considered the situations they were in, and they desire to change it. Verse 3. And we read down to verse 6.
Now let us make a covenant before our God to send away all these women and their children, in accordance with the counsel of my Lord and of those who fear the commands of our God. Let it be done according to the law. Rise up, this matter is in your hands. We will support you, so take courage and do it. So Ezra rose up and put the leading priests and Levites and all Israel under oath to do what had been suggested, and they took the oath. Then Ezra withdrew from before the house of God and went to the room of Jehohanan, son of Eliashib. While he was there, he ate no food and drank no water, because he continued to mourn over the unfaithfulness of the exiles.
What do we see? Back to Numbers 30 verse 2. Do I need to explain? He made them take an oath. Once you take an oath, you're meant to do what you promised you would do. He bound them. Let us make a covenant, he said. And in verse 5, he put the leading priests and Levites and all Israel under oath to do what?
What had been suggested.
What had been suggested. How many of you know the moment a suggestion comes under an oath, it is no more a suggestion? But you have just seen a transition of a suggestion into an oath. An oath is no small thing. And that's why for many years in this house, 15 years, we have given ourselves to the practice of not making vows. Taking an oath is a bit different. Go back to Numbers 30. When a man makes a nadar, you already had that earlier on, to the Lord, or takes an oath, or swears an oath, shebas a sheboah, to bind himself. You take an oath to bind yourself by sheboah. You've taken an oath to tie yourself by an oath. You've uttered words, you've spoken words that tie you. You must not break your word. To bind yourself, the word bind is asar, A-S-A-R, E-I-S-S-A-R. I mean, you know how it is, depending on different renditions, different concordances. You must not break your word. You bind yourself. You've bonded yourself. You've tied yourself. To bind, to restrain, to obligate. What does this tell you? It's not forced. The man made the vow. There are situations where someone can take an oath over you, and you agreed. What did the Bible say in Ezra 10:5? And they took the oath. Ezra put them under oath to do, and they took the oath. Do you understand how that works? Now, because we are Christians, okay, we are not saying I swear, and if we don't do this, may God, or I swear by in the name. We are not doing that because Jesus says we shouldn't. How do we do our version? How many people agree here that they will give at least 2,000 naira before the end of this month to do it? As long as you said, all those who agree, say yes. The moment your mouth said yes, you have that's the equivalent, our Christian equivalent of taking the oath. You've committed yourself. Now, fast forward to the end of the month, and you say, my brother, you don't understand. There were days I eat only twice. Normally I eat 3-4 times. There are days I eat only twice. I'm telling you, it has not been easy this month, but let's see how next month will. Child, the mere fact that you eat at all, that you didn't skip 2 days and declare fast and put together the 2,000 and hand over, says all that needs to be said about your understanding of a vow, or what scriptures might call a promise. We are not meant, we are never meant, we cannot be found making promises and breaking them. But for this house, that is not our problem. We are the other extreme. We make no promises. And I repeat, a major reason why so many are bound by the enemy and other things is that you are not bound by God. And there has to be a binding sometimes. Paul says it very boldly. Paul, a prisoner of the Lord. And here are endless people who are prisoners to nothing, prisoners to no one, prisoners to their own appetite and will. You must be prisoners to someone. And if you refuse to be a prisoner to God, you'll be a prisoner to your flesh and to the enemy. I repeat, as God began to give me this understanding, I was blown away because, as usual, He spoke to me on my knees, and then that word you're about to hear is how He confirmed it. You can't make these things up. It was too real, too strong, too direct, and too close in occurrence from sources that have no business knowing what the other one is saying or doing. But when God speaks like this to us, He's buttressing the point. If God can come to me and start telling me that you guys, you make no promises, you are the safest, most cowardly people. You just make sure you promise nothing, so you are never guilty. By doing that, you are the most guilty group that might exist. You took a good thing, you turned it, you weaponized it against the God who showed you, hey, stop cursing yourself. I vow that if I ever see anybody that I'm not getting married to, it's nakedness, that let me die. That's why you were stopped. That's why I told you, stop. Don't make the vow. Just say, God, help me. And many have enjoyed help. You've enjoyed help. You entered into new levels and victories because of what you were told. I said it's better not to make a vow. Some people by mistake that would have supported different things, given themselves, joined the group, served, have done nothing and looked, but don't worry, I will. Don't worry, I will. That was 1.5 years ago. Up till now, you have done nothing. There was no, I will go out for evangelism. It's when I'm ready. That was 3 years ago. You have become so safe. There are no victories. Whoever conquered new territory without taking risk and putting themselves in danger? Are you seeing what I'm saying? When we became so careful that we are never in danger of offending God, we lost the right to conquering new territories. We are going to have to put ourselves out there and face the possibility of a smacking. I'll jump to the end. We'll come back to the beginning. He said to his people in Psalm 50, those who have made a covenant with him through sacrifice. Take note, through sacrifice.
Gather to me, my consecrated ones, who made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
The covenant was made with a sacrifice. Now I want to make covenant. I've told God that I want to enter a covenant with him. Where's the sacrifice? What did you give up? I do not want to be responsible for anyone's confusion. In all my not vow making, I made many sacrifices. Many times the proof that it is a sacrifice and a vow is that there was a sacrifice. Other than that, who killed this animal? Why are we killing animals and walking in between them? Abraham. Is it for nothing? How many of you know by just obeying God repeatedly when he tells you to do something, committing yourself to doing it is the performance of the equivalent of a vow? What happens when you now turn around and never make any promises? So you are never guilty. You are just guilty all the time. You're guilty of lacking love. You're guilty of not serving God. You're guilty of owing God nothing because you promised him nothing. What kind of relationship is that? Hey, I didn't promise to cook for anybody in this house, so nobody can talk to me. Nobody should talk to me. Did I say I'll cook? The day I cook, take it. The day I don't cook, take it. Imagine the situation you create around you. Totally undependable. Everybody's heart is shaking all the time. Who knows how it will be today? What is good about being like that? You are evil, selfish. You're not just selfish, it's the evil kind. I'm not going to commit myself to service. I'm not going to obligate that I will carry out this job. I won't take up that role. I won't do any of that. God knows. I'm so happy. Let me help you because you're confused. This is how you say it. This is how it comes out of your mind. Thank God I didn't promise anybody anything. Are you real? Check how long you have now gone on without making any promises. Just check how, like a joke, something you thought would last for 1 month or 2 years have passed. You promise nobody anything. You live your life. So where's the covenant basis? Because there are no sacrifices I can smell. The next verse.
And the heavens proclaim his righteousness, for God himself is judge.
Go on.
Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, and I will testify against you. I am God, your God.
He says he will testify against them. Take note, they are his consecrated people. These are the blood of Jesus has secured them. That's how they became his people, by sacrifice, first level of sacrifice. The error you make is if you think that the cross of Jesus is the only cross. After you've been told that if any man will come after me, take up your own cross to also be a sacrifice. There's the benefit of the sacrifice. The false gospel you have heard stresses that Jesus has done it. You don't need to do anything anymore. Let's go with Jesus and his cross. But the Lord Jesus himself said, you cannot be my student, my apprentice, my disciple, if you don't do crosses like I do. That's the only way. You too must carry a cross. If you want to be like me, you cannot be like me if you won't carry a cross like I carry. Next verse, everybody.
I will not rebuke you for your sacrifices or your burnt offerings, which are continually before me. I will not take a bull from your house, nor goats out of your folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the fields are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine and all its fullness. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Offer to God thanksgiving, and pay your vows to the Most High.
This is what he's asking for. This is what is his issue. This is why he's rebuking. Be grateful. Be grateful. 1, 2. Settle your vow now. Question. What happens when you have no vows? He has not entered the year. You know how you read this vow? Don't make vows. Ecclesiastes 5, Ecclesiastes 5, Ecclesiastes 5. That's what pastors say, Ecclesiastes 5. Oh. God, what do you mean by pay your vows? Are you saying I should enter vows? We all know vows are bad. Does this sound like vows are bad? So if you have no vows, do you consider maybe you're not a very good person? Why have you no vows? Why are there no vows to pay to me? I have an issue with you guys. Pay your vows. Those guys at least knew that they had to make vows. But you come to a group of people, or person after person, and there are no vows. I didn't vow that I'll stand up no matter what happens by 5 a.m. and pray. I did not vow that I will give time. That time he said that how many of you will give 2 hours a day to do? I did not. I didn't raise my hand. I didn't put my name. I didn't. I know better than that. Are you sure that is better? Have you considered that the one that made the vow, God shows up and says, settle me now? He's not killing the person. He's just saying, do it. I've been waiting since that time. I should summarize. God wants people to make vows and then to keep them. If you are my people and you're consecrated, where are your vows? There must be vows for you to be able to pay them. The economy of God, the kingdom of God runs on promises. His and yours. And if you have a habit of making no promises, he has nothing he can claim and pull on. He can't show up and say, I'm calling up your debt to me. Yes, I need someone. Yes, please. You said that time that you would go where I send you. There's a man right now in a cottage in this corner. Go. So there's no one. So everything he has to do is random. Everything your father has to do is random because he doesn't have people owing him. Oh, you don't understand. Do you know the beauty of being owed? Who knows the beauty of being owed when you need money? That is the solution. If little you can understand it, better understand that the whole earth runs on people's obligatedness to God. If the first one, being grateful, does not work, let's at least hope. I have a vow I can call up. Did you hear me? Oh, if you can't just do it for gratitude, thanksgiving. If you can't just be thankful, and please, just as you came to say thank you, please, can you carry this day as you're going back to Lagos? Give it to Susan. If gratitude will not carry, let me be able to say you owe me one. You said, if I ever needed. Have you heard white people in the movies talk like that? You hear how they often say that thing, like, I owe you, but after that, I owe you for I owe you. That's a sense of honor. You deserve something from me because I've given you, you did something for me. It is a very dishonorable state to owe nobody anything and to feel you owe nobody anything. Thanksgiving, gratitude manifests in our being willing to show gratefulness by pleasing the one we are grateful towards. When they ask for something, express desire for something, pursue something, gratitude goes, no problem. No, sir, it's not a problem. It's not a problem, sir. No, I'll give it. Don't worry. It's just about 30 minutes from my place. Gratitude should do that. But in case, just in case, you're too ungrateful to do things out of appreciation, you're blind to what has been done for you, let's hope that promise you made will carry the day. Let's hope the promise you opened your mouth and uttered when you said what you said will carry. I hope I don't have to pull that card and tell you, but you said. But since common sense is not carrying, since milk of human kindness is not enough, please, you said, remember. Even little children know this and are constantly calling up favors. You remember that time? What about when me? Unabashedly. The whole spirit realm knows it. Satan knows it. He uses it all the time. Satan is a master of using vows. Almost all the spiritual problems you have are vows that he's enforcing. Oh, you're not still understanding. I've said the spirit realm runs on these things. You didn't believe when I said it. The kingdom of Satan makes sure that all those he binds open their mouth and vow something. It is those vows that Satan uses. He has large books of vows for different families. Your great-grandfather said, even when the vow has expired, he's still trying to use it. He's still flaunting documents. He said, you said, they said. And then you have God's people saying nothing. So you have this light spiritual weight on the kingdom of righteousness because people are not making promises. Then those who make, and let me leave us for a brief while and talk about our brethren. Those who make promises many times of physical things because sometimes it can be easier to settle a physical. Spiritual things are hard. Why? You need to do other things to be able to do them. Do you understand? It can be easy to promise when I can afford these chairs, I'll give 7. And when you can afford, you should give. Am I saying it's unacceptable? No, it's fully acceptable. In fact, amongst the ways God has even blessed us as a ministry are the brethren who made vows. Now, they may have not said a vow, but they told me things like, I intend to be giving this amount every month. Few, 2-3 people have done things like that. Some for a while. One said for 5 months. Things like that. And because of that, it built a wall. There's a certainty that this will come in. And they gave it. They gave it again. They gave it again. I'm giving 200,000 Naira every month for 5 months. That means they decided to give 1 million and they gave it in tranches of 200,000. I've seen people do that. I've seen people say, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm going to give all the proceeds from 1 job. And they do it. It creates a solidness. It's certain. Now, again, while very few people, not up to 5, okay, have done things like this, but this is why. If you hear, I remember a ministry where the man says, we want people who are committing to give this amount every month for a year. Now, I've never done it that way. It's good. But why have I not done it? Because of my fear of making people make vows. I would rather people made vows themselves. So what I'm teaching you here is the Bible way, the God way of this matter. Then you can decide what you will do with it. It seems to be one of the main things God is telling me this year, that why your people have been so weak and flimsy is they make me no promises. They are the safest people they are. And because of that, they are also the weakest, extremely weak. How many of you know when you make a vow, you go out of your way to fulfill it? It pushes you whenever there's a commitment to meet. And I repeat, unfortunately, we make vows to others, to all kinds. We make all kinds of commitments and we keep it. And we went out of our way to not make vows to the greatest, the one to whom we deserve our very lives and our all. The good news is that I know after this, I and you, different people in this house, are going to go back to making promises to God. And you will watch in just 3 days. You're going to see the most wonderful things happen just because there's a promise. You see that YouTube problem? It's gone. You're going to vow for 1 week. You're not going to go to YouTube. That's all. And you won't. You only click the link to testimonies or something on YouTube. You have to. All you do is you say it. That's all. You just say it. You just say it once. You write it down. In 1 week, what? It's going to be like magic. And you're going to wonder, why did I not do this long ago? You're going to apply that to multiple things. I will never go to a house of this so and so person. I will not do this. I will not lie down at it. I will not eat before. I will not. You will do them in short-term versions. Then you'll extend them. Some people will do it, some things for life, especially if they sin. Some you do it for all. You make a vow. The difference with a vow and a curse is where you attach a curse to the vow. Did you notice that the angel showed up in Ecclesiastes 5 to say, where is the vow? He didn't come to fulfill a curse. It's not that the angel appeared and said, I've come to punish you the way you said I should punish you. You see how wicked the devil is. He will make you, while you're binding yourself, instead of just binding yourself, you hung a sword of Damocles over your head so that when it cuts, it pierces yourself. Why did you put a sword over your head? You could have made a promise. Did you notice God saying, pay your vows? He didn't say, I've come to carry out, execute judgment as you vowed. So who told you to add a curse to your vow? Can you see the difference? People thought that cursing themselves when they make a vow is vow making. No. Make the vow. Don't add a curse. That's all. Let God decide. Laying down your life is a perfect example of what making a vow is. No man can come after me without taking up his cross, without laying his life. Vows are crosses. You're not writing it because you don't even understand it. If that's all you wrote out of everything I said, you would have been fine. A vow is a cross. This is say that Jesus laid down his life willingly. You've not read it and took it up willingly. A vow is a cross. A cross can be a vow, but a vow is a cross. A vow is a cross. You carry it in fear and trepidation. You're like, this thing will kill me. Oh, I'm hanging. I'm going to hang on this thing. That's what vows are. They are dreadful things. Who has made a small vow before? Let me see your hand. I mean, as someone has sense, as a Christian, not those crosses. I want to hear examples of vows you made. Just speak from where you are. About what? You don't need a microphone. One word. To stop eating mini-me ching-ching. To overcome a brand of ching-ching that has this, the flavor. You don't know. I know. You think you're the first person to make a vow. What's that thing? Cinnamon. Because of the cinnamon. That smell. That's what makes it unique. Mini-me specifically. You don't even know. That smell it has. What makes it mini-me ching-ching different from other ching-chings? The cinnamon flavor. All right. Crunchy. Very nice. Well done. They even brought out new flavors some time ago. But I think 10 years ago, I know. Or more. We know these things. So, did you hear? She made a vow. Is it for life? Oh? You should never buy it with anyone's money except yours. Have you heard that? Next hand. Soda, soft drinks. Is it for life? No. I'm asking about your vows. I'm not asking about desires. So she may eat, but it will be at someone's expense. He is hoping. Don't say yes. Now, if you have not made the vow, don't make it now by talking to me. If you did, you did. I'm not involved. All that. Yes. WhatsApp statuses. So no matter what you put, Savior Ukofia has not seen it and will not see it. Yes. Non-Christian movies. She will not watch them. Yes. No venture without inquiring of the Lord. Specific business, plantain chips, 30% goes to God. Not to buy sugar in packets. Buy them to small. I hope there's economical. Do I marry or say your husband will be buying it because you need a lot of sugar. So yes. No going back to Facebook. No going back to Facebook. Running out, stay out of the arms of Mark Zuckerberg. Yes. No Gary. No a bar after 5. Yes. No drinking of alcohol. A teetotaler for life. So that's not even the fruit of the vine. That's just danger. Reading the Bible before reading law school books. That ensured that she read her Bible under the tension of law school. You see, if I'm to go slowly again through everything, all of this have a reason. See, they didn't just stay. He likes soft drinks. She likes mini ching. Why would she do this to it? Because she realizes I'm spending too much money on this. This has great potential to bind me. This is binding me. And I should not, all things are lawful. All things are not experienced. All things are lawful. I'll not be brought under the power of any. How can mini ching? You overcame better sin. Mini stand in the spirit realm, a great packet of mini ching with his leg on your head. No. So she doesn't like that painting. And she made a vow and threw it down like a giant Goliath. This is how vows work. Vows enable us. Vows equip us. How many of you have ever fallen in your vow? How many of you overcame it by reason of the vow? At least 50%. Are you understanding? So vows have this power to bring, if not total victory, a significant amount of victory. Yes? So being vowless just keeps the playing field open all the time. Which is why it's better to make a partial vow. If you know that this is still too strong, or I don't think I should make this commitment like this. However, I'm going into specifics before time. But to have no vows at all, the one who has no vow at all is still drinking soda, 2 bottles a day. Is still eating mini instead of 5 a day. Is eating only 4. Is not reading the Bible. In fact, told God, wait, when I'm done with this law, so I'll start a ministry. And did not read their Bible through the time. If you don't pay some price, that 30%, no, now look at how business is. How can I? From where now? And that's how you end up never giving. All the while thinking that God understands. I've seen people go from not giving for small things to never giving almost at all. They just keep not giving. So it becomes a stronghold. There's always something you need to do with money, but giving is not more. Because you made no vows. Especially if you have a pastor like me who came and told you, no, don't. I am bringing balance. Vows. Asa shows that a vow limits your freedom once spoken. That Numbers 30 verse 2 had said that you shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. He shall do everything he said. NKJV says all that proceeds out of his mouth. In other words, it's not a vow while you're thinking it. It becomes a vow when you have spoken it. Whether there was someone there or not, if you spoke it to God, it's a vow. If you spoke it with people present as witnesses, it's still a vow. So speakings can create bindings. You're struggling? Speakings create bonds. The spirit realm is run on words. And that's why there are so many bonds. And if the devil is creating evil bonds, someone tell me, pray. Why? We should not create bonds for Jesus. How can we not create bonds for Jesus? Why are we not binding ourselves to Jesus? The Greek word for this is euche. E-U-C-H-E. If we look at the Acts of Apostles, chapter 18, verse 18.
So Paul still remained a good while. Then he took leave of the brethren and sailed for Syria, and Priscilla and Aquila were with him. He had his hair cut off at Cenchrea, for he had taken a vow.
At Cenchrea, he had his hair cut off. Why?
He had taken a vow.
That's the word euche. E-U-C-H-E. And another word, omnio, means to swear an oath. You notice in Numbers 30, there's taking a vow and they're swearing an oath. They are different, but they have similarities. Jesus said, don't swear any oath. Did he ever say, don't make any vows? No. I told you they are different words. Sheba, Sheboah is different from Neda, Nador. That's Matthew 5:34. Do not swear an oath at all. He didn't say, not make a vow. Did Jesus make a vow? Yes. Do you hear him say he will not drink of the fruit of the vine till he does it with us in the kingdom? Is that a small thing? To rise from the dead and stay for 2,000 years plus? 2,000 year to 3,000 year oath? What kind of oath is that? He made it. Matthew 26:29. Say he will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the day he drinks it new with you in my Father's kingdom. That's a vow. I hope you see the difference. The law permits vows, but it regulates them very strictly. They tend to be voluntary, not commanded. You notice what Nehemiah did is he put them under an oath. Saul put them under an oath. An oath has a vow in it, but tends to be tied with, picture a padlock. And that's the one that usually comes with conditions. If I don't, an oath. It ties itself to things. Say, don't take an oath by God which is in heaven. Don't take it by even the hair on your head. You can't cause any to grow. So people would swear by their father, by their mother, by the heavens. They'll swear by the throne of God. They swear by things. In that Matthew 5, they would attach it to something. As long as there's heaven. If there's heaven, they would attach it. A vow does not need that. Are you seeing the difference between a vow and an oath? Do not swear an oath at all, verse 34, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. So you do not need to say, I swear by my father. I swear by heaven. Why? What I'm saying, if it's not true, and most times that was used to elicit information. Oh yes, so this is how it worked. Are you saying you were not there and you didn't see what happened? What do you swear by? I swear by heaven. I didn't see. I swear by Jerusalem. It's with something that you hold sacred. I swear by the hair on my head. In other words, if I'm lying, let that hair fall away. If I'm lying, let that Jerusalem, let me not have access to it. If I'm lying, let heaven frown on me or destroy me. That's what you're implying. So they would make you swear by something because they consider your words insufficient. You can't just say yes or no. So attach it to something, which if it is not true, that thing comes crashing down on you. Are you understanding? And he said, don't do that. You should be so honest that when you say yes, it means yes. When you say no, it means no. I need you to be that honest. I need you to be that forthright. I need you to be that straightforward. You understand? Did you see him? No. Christians, disciples of Jesus, your no should be heavier than a blood sacrifice. That's all. That's what he meant. You should be so truthful. Did you give it to her? Yes. Immediately we move on. That they have to question, are you sure? I'm saying this for those of you that they have to question you repeatedly about things and you are all over this house. Well, not exactly. Check yourself. Check yourself. Your yes should be yes. It shouldn't be 50%. It's okay, 70%. Okay, I was telling 90% truth. Yes, I did tell her that I kept something on the table. I didn't tell her directly. Okay, I told someone to tell her. The question was, did you tell her? I told you when you go there, tell her. You didn't do what was said. Now you're meandering, telling lies. Now, those days, they'll now say, if you told, swear that you told. On what should I swear? I'll swear on the hair on my head that I told Angelina your message, word for word. God is basically saying you should do what is right so normally. You should be so dependable that no need to take vows or oaths is ever required around it. Is this clear? That there's a need to make you go beyond that. Something from the evil one is involved in your life. Once you speak a vow, first, it's voluntary. Second, it's binding once you speak it. And third, God expects full performance. Deuteronomy 23 verse 21.
If you make a vow to the Lord your God, do not be slow to pay it, for the Lord your God will certainly demand it of you, and you'll be guilty of sin.
What are you guilty of when you make a vow and don't perform it?
Sin.
Did you notice he said don't be slow to pay it? In other words, you can make a vow and carry it out slowly. He wonders why you are delaying when you can do it. Have you heard the principle that when it is in your power to meet the need of a neighbor, you should do it at once and not say, go and come back tomorrow? God knows exactly what you can do now. He already knows. So he's wondering, why don't you just do it at once? Say, I promise I'm going to apologize. Lord, I promise. You have come back into town. Why have you not gone and apologized? Why are you postponing? What's the delay? How many of you agree that everything we delay tends to become harder? How many of you remember after spending time with God, how fresh, how sure you are when you come out? No, I even kneel down. How many of you realize after 2-3 days, what is that thing? So the wise God went ahead and told us, don't delay. Proverbs 3 verse 28. He said, don't delay. Okay. Now verse 22 of that Deuteronomy 23. Everyone.
But if you refrain from making a vow, you will not be guilty.
And I repeat, this is where our sin arose as a house of Christians. In a house where you've never been made to make a vow of giving money or anything, you now became a people who make no vows. If you don't make a vow, you are not guilty of what? Of breaking a vow. You may be guilty of selfishness. Are you understanding? You may be guilty of many other things. But what you're not guilty of is the guilty of lying, of making a vow. Okay? Good. So take note that vowing is optional, but keeping a vow is mandatory. If you look in the book of Psalm 116, verse 14.
I will fulfill my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people.
Wow. Many of us love private vows. Agree. Nobody ever knows I made it. So when I break it, nobody ever knows I'm breaking it. The great error, again, of our lives. Vows with no purpose. Hanging vows. Vows that are shapeless. And if you are to check some of them, useless. Oh, I'm serious. Vows have benefit. How many of you know vows have a benefit to the one who made it? There's no purpose to make a vow if it has no benefit. What's the benefit of vowing that you won't spend time viewing statuses? How much time has that saved you? Inconceivable. The amount of time saved. So for the brother that made the vow not to look at it, he bought himself time that translated into Bible studies and other things. We are to fulfill our vows not just to the Lord, in the presence of all his people. All of you that keep saying things like, my vows are personal, it's between me and God, be very careful. He said you fulfill it in the presence of all. God's people better be involved in your vow keeping. So the other day, this happened, and I vowed to the Lord. So when they see you break it, is it not you? So they help you fulfill it. Are you hearing? But also in this picture, he's talking about a vow that was made to be fulfilled before God's people. Yes? Take note, he's fulfilling it. That means the vow was, God, I'm going to give thanks. You've heard many people giving testimony saying, I vowed that I'll give this testimony. And they came on stage and began to, Father, I had said I'll give this testimony. How many of you, that's the only reason they gave it? They would have kept postponing till they made the vow. And thanksgiving was offered to God. And that's the beauty of a vow. A vow does not give you a choice. A vow takes away the shakiness. How many of you have said, God, why am I so unstable? What vows do is they stabilize. Vows are stabilizers. Vows hold this leg, hold the other leg. It's a vow that will make you finally get to work on time without eating. You carry the food. You finally buy a food flask because when you've left to work hungry one day, are you seeing how you have overcome pride? Can you see how pride has been defeated like that? Remember how pride will not allow you to carry food flask. For what now? God forbid. Then you made a vow. Like, I pride. You're under my feet. Yeah. Bros, where did you carry for bag? So, it's my lunch box. Like all those white people in the Bronx, in New York, where they are building, lunch box. A little fizzy. We don't care what you call it. Now, food. You have brought food to work. A vow has brought about the victory. I don't care. When the alarm rings, I'm standing up. I'm vowing that when the alarm rings, I'm standing up. You vow it for the next week, 7 days. Like I told you this week, watch what's going to happen. You wish you had been doing it for years. I already gave you Psalm 50 verse 14. Pay your vows to the Most High. Vows are not bribes. They are responses to God's mercy and expressions of our desire to please him. That's what a vow is. You know what many people do in vows? Say, Lord, I vow. Let me tell you. Tell the Lord things like, let me give you examples of vows. Lord, I vow that if you help me, wake up and pray. You've heard this many times. I will do so and so. I will do so and so. If you help me, if the vow is the I will do so and so. That's when you are attaching the vow to something, yes? So there's that. And this is another great wonder. God responds to vows. When he sees a vow, he goes, did she just make a vow? It's okay. Say, gather angel. Don't mind her. Wake up every morning by 4. 4 sharp. You can never tell me that you start waking up by yourself. None of you is that crazy. Nobody. How can it be you? From where? Okay, if you almost thought it was you, I forced myself to step earlier. What about the day you slept by 2 and still woke up by 4? Your eyes went pink. With magic, you don't know yourself. No, when you made the vow, someone was assigned to help you involve. She said that if she can wake up steadily for 2 weeks, that she will not go back to her old ways. Let's help. We really need her walking in new ways. Hannah, 1 Samuel 1 verse 11.
And she made a vow saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head.
Look at the size of that vow. A barren woman promised a whole human being. Did God answer? I've been waiting for it since. Yeah. Oh yeah, who they hold that baby? Drop it. And now you know again how your mind says, no, God does not need anything from me. I don't need to make him vows. God is looking for vows everywhere. I told you at the beginning. He's looking for it. Won't someone promise me something? Okay, what are the circumstances? Well, a spirit stood before him. Have you read? Say one said one thing, one said another. You have to know God is good. That's some of those things that happen to you. Somebody, 1 Kings 22 verse 20.
And the Lord said, who will entice Ahab into attacking Ramoth Gilead and going to his death there? One suggested this and another that.
Who is this one? Go back.
I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the multitudes of heaven standing round him on his right and on his left.
And one said this and one said that. You know God, I told you God is humble. He listens to opinions. He's not like many of you. As opinionated as they come. You are the beginning, you are the end, and you are the sides. The Most High God listens to opinions. One said, another said. Finally, says a spirit said. A spirit came forward. A spirit. Do what you like with it. A spirit. I will entice you. By what means? I will go out and be a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. You will succeed. So when we are talking and saying, God did, God cannot do, I think we need to read the Bible more. If you know how these decisions are made, you think God sits on his own? No. There's a system here. And ideas are listened to. Can God do evil? No. Can a deceiving spirit do? Yes. So when you are there, and then things start happening. How are we going to get a prophet? This Eli has felt someone. This is son, useless. I think if you withhold a child from her belly, find some woman random, no baby, the Sarah protocol, and heaven starts, okay, all right. That's why you cry, you pray, you roll. Has nothing to do with you at all. There are conditions that must exist. Him don't promise, not yet, my Lord. They turn and look at the spirit that suggested it. They say, my Lord, she will. She will. My Lord, give it time. My Lord, she will. Give it time. When the sons of God are appearing. How far? Nothing, They walk up and down. My Lord, remember Job. Have you considered Job? We don't know what happened there. I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything. I'm sure you notice I haven't said anything. I'm just saying that there's a whole up there, very busy place. We presume that the Father just come. I speak now. No, it's a bit more normal. People are coming and going. Excellency, don't be angry. But when they're having political meetings, what do you think they discuss? You think those strategies just pour from one head? Who dash monkey? How much more God Almighty, who has all wisdom? But he created these beings. And he actually runs a council. It's called the council of heaven. It's a real thing. When the sons of God appeared before God, you think they come to say nothing? What he said to Satan is an example of what happens when they come. So how far? Where have you been? What's happening? Well, I've been moving up and down Nigeria, and yeah. So any good news? Any churches we can do something with? Yeah, I saw about 7 or 8 that might be. They're quite immature though. Quite immature, but I think we can do something. Yeah. So what's the play? they'll need to be matured first. So what protocol are we using? Fire protocol. Do the fire protocol, then we do the that's how things happen. It happens in personal lives, it happens to groups, it happens to all kinds. That's why God must be allowed to be God. He has a job. What's your job? Godding. Superior knowledge. I know things you don't know. There's a master plan. You don't have it. It's on need to know basis. You're too small down the chain of command to know. I can't tell you. But you know what? Let me give you something. Just a little something. Yes, Lord, anything. Just hope. Yeah, I'll give you something. I'm going to send a confirmatory word. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye. Get out of my presence. Ring, ring. Yes. Hello. Yeah. Sister, I had a dream about you this morning. Bro, you don't know what you have done now. You have not done anything. They've given you just a tiny leg of a hair of something. You know, your hope goes. That was God. But the main plan itself is bigger than the house you're in. Our job is to trust him. It's called faith. And he'll be fine. She fulfilled her promise. And Samuel became a prophet. Yes? A force to reckon with. Genesis 28, verse 20 to 22. His name is Jacob. And he makes a vow.
Then Jacob made a vow saying, if God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I am taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house, and of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth.
Have you seen that? And he called the name of the place Bethel. But before it was called Luz. Scriptures say that this guy makes a vow. So they are the vows that you are promising God something in the future if he does something, yes? Then there's the vow you are making, asking him to help you. The fear of you should help me, not offend you, yes? Are you noticing the shape of the vows? So I am promising you that you will be my God. If you are the God I will worship, the Elohim I will worship. If you will be with me on this journey and watch over me. 1, protect me, simply. 2, you give me food and you give me clothing. I'm not just going to make you my God. I'm going to give you 1/10 of everything you give me. There are people who promise 20%. Francois founded the Wani Mergon Foundation. As of now, he gives 80 or 90% of everything. He has gone from being a small business to being a mighty business and having tons of millions of dollars. He made a vow years ago and has been keeping it. And what God does with people who can keep vows. Who knows what happened with Hannah? She had 4 or 5 more children. The floodgates of burning were open, of giving birth. Children were not dropping back to back. Once the vow was made. And many times God waits and looks at us and says, so you will not promise me anything, eh? You keep praying and begging here. What have you promised me? Go away. Next thing you'll be pretending. I prayed with all my heart. What have you promised me? What's in it for me? Quid pro quo applies. What is in it for me? Nothing. I just do it. Selfish human being. You're very selfish. Why should I give you anything? Have you not heard that what you sow is what you reap? What have you sowed? Nothing. I should just give you. Have I not given you enough? We absolutely need to make a few more promises than we make. We are just selfish. How many of you are thinking your neighbor is quite selfish? You're looking at him right now. So you don't promise me anything. So nothing for me, eh? They come now. They come. You go chop. Not only you like chop, how many of you are thinking maybe really we have been slightly selfish? Anybody feeling slightly guilty? Any guilt at all? I'm checking if there's any conscience left. Because some people in the process of being this selfish, conscience packed and moved back to Lagos. No, we have been quite selfish. We've looked at people. How many of you have heard some of those testimonies from people out there? Confused, money loving, but some fantastic stories. Anybody heard any of those stories? And you're busy condemning them. And God is saying, yeah, at least they're on their better. They promised me this, and I wanted someone to do it, and they agreed to do it. So whatever you're saying, what have you agreed to do? To live a holy life. Holy life. I'm not saying you're not living a holy life. I'm saying that's not. I need people with a holy life, but I also need somebody to build so and so for me. A holy life cannot build that thing. I need somebody to. How many of you suspect Hannah was a holy woman? But God needed a prophet, a human being with 2 legs, 2 hands, and 2 eyes and a mouth. That's what he needed. I need a living, breathing being. And to show you God was desperate, the boy started prophesying from childhood. You don't understand. How many of you know you need to go to school of prophet? You need to grow up. God started giving him words. Look at the desperation. He's giving words to the high priest as a child in the same house. Not be suicide with that. That's how much God needed someone. He started using him without training him. He started giving words without the boy knowing the voice of God. Is that how it's done? The boy didn't even know. Not once, not twice. Who runs up and down repeatedly and is clueless like that? A complete greenhorn. God already started using him. Even as a child, all Israel knew that the word of the Lord was in his mouth. God is a boy. That's how much God needed a prophet. You're here dragging, praying, year after year, being sad. You won't pray the prayer, Hannah? You not pray the prayer? Hannah, pray the prayer. There's a prayer. I'm waiting for you to just say it. If you just say it one time before you come back here. Who has made a vow to God before about something? Oh, yeah, microphone.
I had a pain at the back of my leg, and I prayed for months, and it never stopped. In fact, I used to feel numb on that leg. So I just said, Lord, if you heal me, I'll testify openly. And months after, I think, okay, I told Pastor about it, and then I came, Pastor prayed, and it just, in fact, I had even forgotten about it. It was just one day I realized that I didn't feel the pain anymore.
And he gave testimony. Yes, quickly, I need some hands. 2 or 3 powerful ones. What?
The season for admission had passed.
So
when I get admitted into Udoh, I was going to serve the Lord. Immediately the next day, the season had passed, so much so that the next week was screening. The next week, I had to travel to Udoh.
From Lagos?
Yes, in days like.
So this was about a job. So I remember it was 2023. I was in Osama at that time. I was lamenting on the 21st, which was my birthday. So I think I had desired, I said, in my head, I just said, God, if you do this for me, I'll be really happy. And my mom called me that day and was praying for me and all that. By the time I went outside, the same day, by the time I'm coming, I'm getting to the main part. So by the time I stepped outside, I received a mail concerning a job. So at the time, of course, there are many stages before you actually get the job. So it was just an invitation. So at the time when we were to go for the exams and all of that, this fast forward, okay, that was the first phase. I did the, what they call it, contract phase. Then to the main thing, which is the conversion stage, there was lots of avenues to apply for. I applied for the first one, they didn't call me. I applied for the second one, they didn't call me. So this last one I applied for, I actually had to write down the way I would spend the salary. I said, God, see, this is how I'm going to be spending the salary. That He should help my life. You know that everything came so seamlessly. I don't think I read. I saw my colleagues reading, even when we went for the what they call it, the exams. I saw the place that we lodged. I saw some of my colleagues with books all over their bed. I was sleeping. By the day of the exam, the things were so cheap. I just wrote it and passed, and every other stage. And God has been helping me. Small. I'm trying.
Small to do what you vowed.
To do what I vowed.
All of you are witnesses. Mbagdo means in case of incasity. You better fulfill your vows. If you have a shepherd, you ought to abstain yourself. This is what I promise. You see, well, it's good we have heard. Next.
Sir, mine is almost the opposite of his. I had a job, and it was the season where the words of God were flowing freely, but I didn't have time to study. And I mistakenly told God that if He can take care of me and provide without me needing this job, I would just like to study His words. I lost the job that day.
Isn't God good? Tell us about Him taking care of you. We need to know He fulfilled His vow.
Oh, He abundantly fulfilled it. So at different points, I was still living in Lagos, and I would stay in my flat, and sometimes I would get calls from people I haven't spoken to in how long, just offering me a deal. I used to do voiceovers, and they would come with their recording equipment to my flat, just have me record something for a few minutes and go and send me hundreds of thousands. All I had to do was sit at home and read the Bible.
Is he faithful? Is He real? Live faithful. Is God real? It's not theory. Forget anything anyone says. Yes.
When I went for NYC, one of the words I had received before, I was not to do business, but to focus on ministry. So getting to Kogi State.
What's the vow?
So the vow that the Holy Spirit prompted me to make it. I wasn't compelled per se. So it took me time, but the vow was to
that you will not do business.
No, that was not just it. But was to give a certain amount of my income, which is above normal, for a core member. And I had different commitments I needed to make in the community. I was doing different things with the little money I was giving. So I could not do business because I knew the restraint that was put. And I could only depend on my alawi. And in that alawi, I needed to give a lot out of it. So the way the Lord was faithful to do it was that in my NYC, I was balling somehow because I had a lot of money. I had opportunity to do good. So I'll give this, when the month ended, I'll feel pain by taking that money out. But I knew it was not what I was receiving that kept me through my service year. So it was as if the Lord said, and He even told me then that this was basic, that there's more to do. So if I was not faithful in that one, I couldn't go more. So I saw the Lord's hand in that.
Thank you.
Sir, there was how my spiritual life had been from law school, due to, anyways, those fallouts I shared in my testimony. So from law school, service year, and the period of time I was in Lagos at the time, my spiritual life had a certain shape and condition. The vow was that just very recently, which was last 2 months, the Holy Spirit made it clear to me that I had not fully committed to being a bond servant. So I of course drafted a deed of bond servant agreement and shared it with.
Okay, so what's the vow? So you drafted that
and of course, like, to fully commit to the Lord.
And what have you seen?
From then, that's from November, this December that just passed, I know. The clarity that my mind has experienced, just been like when I joined God's Lighthouse in 2017, that is to do things spiritually in my life. It's been so clear. So all that years from law school, crying, praying, God, what's going on here? Everything dissipated.
When was law school? When did law school
Law school was in 2021, NYSC year 2022.
So for about 4 years.
4 to 5 years.
About 4 years. A kind of foggy atmosphere in the spiritual realm. Low. It started from a lowly, a carnality, I guess, just earthiness. But the moment pen goes to paper, and someone's going to tell you that it's not a big deal. Oh, it's all the deal. In fact, it's the deal. Before that, you had no deal. What's a deal? An agreement. And many times we simply make no deals with God. And He wonders, don't these people know I'm a businessman? When you talk the talk that a businessman man likes, he says, you're talking now. Before that, you're making noise. Say something I can understand. When you say, let's do business. Are you understanding? One more.
I was to be arrested in 2018 after my sign out party where there was a cult clash and someone was killed. So for context, I was the senior prefect. So when they made the investigation and saw it was my school, they had to come for me and some other people. And it was in all of that phase I had to pray and tell God. Again, I didn't know what to say when I began praying. So I just knew that if I were to say something that could call God's attention, then He might just as well answer me. So I said, God, if you can save me from being arrested and all of this, I will serve you. And I think it took about 1 year later, God born again.
Are you hearing that? Vows. Now again, even if I didn't preach anything, this is enough. This is not the Bible. This is Udoh. These are Nigeria. The year is 2025. God has not changed. Not the God of Hannah. He's the God of you. Now, He's still looking for people. If I can find someone to enter a deal with, the divine will intervene if we will make promises. But we don't. It's a small thing to us. When we treat something as though it's a big deal and God is involved, He takes it like a big deal too. Amen? In the scriptures, there's an example of a foolish or dangerous vow, which you're taught, which was what the warning was. Because I knew the Nigerian church, the Pentecostal groups had taught people to vow carelessly and recklessly, usually because of the greed of the shepherds, and they wanted to make money. And so they dragged people into making vows. And they put a lot of God's people in trouble. So as a loving shepherd, I taught all those under my care and beyond that don't put yourself in trouble. God is so loving that He can still receive you without your binding yourself with an oath. And most of what our people were doing, or people do, is called oath taking, not proper vows, which we've addressed today. Therefore, the instruction is make vows still, but don't make foolish or dangerous vows. Vows that you cannot see around the corner. Judges chapter 11, verse 30 to 31. His name was Jephthah.
And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord. If you give the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me when I return in triumph from the Ammonites will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering.
Whatever comes out of my house to meet me. Some people have said maybe they thought it would be his dog, a slave, his man-servant's child. I don't know what he expected to come out. A horse. It's called a rash vow. So this is the balance to all we have said. Be careful and look at the vow carefully before you make it. Ponder it. I'll give you an overall instruction based on what I think I've been guilty of at different times. I think I've made many vows and forgotten them. Short, they might not be very big vows, life shaking, but I think I've forgotten, and I know many of you have too. So the wisdom I learned was, don't make any vow you don't write down. Don't even say it yet. Write it first. Rewrite it. Draft it. Put it down. Look at it. Maybe if you have a shepherd, show them, say, do you think it's okay to make this vow? I'm not saying always. Don't disturb people like that because they don't have your context. I'm not saying you can't ask. I'm not saying you should ask every time. I'm saying that you should put it in writing for one reason. So you don't forget what you promised. Why should you forget something so serious? It's too serious to be forgotten. I was waiting, maybe in October, I was saying, God, please forgive me. I know I've promised things and forgotten it, which means you made it rashly. If it's serious, you shouldn't forget it. Note it down. Why? I make human beings promises and I don't forget it. How much more God? I was just asking for forgiveness for any promises I've made, I've not kept. For vows you've made, I've not kept. Write it down. Maybe you have a book of vows. Put it at the back of the diary, then move it to that book. Then be going back to check. When God said, fulfill your vows to the Lord, how can you fulfill what you can't remember? So what now happens? You never fulfill it. And Satan will use that possibly and accuse you consistently. You made a promise, a person. You made a promise. So we have to be extremely careful about making vows. We should make them, but we can't make them rashly and brashly. Don't make stupid vows. The reason I say you can show it to someone is a leader, someone that has authority over your life, your pastor, is to say, am I saying too much? But I think by the time you write it down, you yourself will calm down. I don't think Jephthah wrote it. I think if he wrote it, if pen and paper was easy, I think he would have said, who might come out? So rather, what is his wife? No, he had an only daughter. Is it the mother had died or something? But the point is, he would have said, Lord, I will give you my biggest cow. Just say that. Just say that. Well, just say, God, I will give you that which will cost me something. Lord, I will give you so and so amount of money. The problem with general vows is that you can't really know when you fulfilled it too. So I'm giving you another. This is not a warning. This one is just counsel that you should make vows that are sensible. Make sensible vows. Women have been known in Nigeria and beyond to vow their husband's car or the car their husband gave them. And all that happened here in the UK. It happened in Delta. I saw it many years ago. 10 years ago. One in this year, they said the man came back, went and said, return that car. All of that. So there are people who vow what they have no right to vow. And some of it, not vow for anything. It is that they say we need people they are raising money. You get? It's not, I hope you notice in the vows here that you want to win a battle against the Ammonites who are attacking God's people. How many of you know that's a good thing? But it's in a time when Israel had no king and every man did what was right in his eyes. It's the book of Judges. The very wild time. They didn't know many things. None of us can be. We have the Bible. These guys, their life was very wild. So when you read it, don't go saying, make vows. Don't look at this and say, make no vows. Make vows. Make short-term vows. 1 week vows. 1 month vows. 1 year vows. Make promises to God. But make them for reasons. Lord, if you do this for me, take note, I will. If you will wake me up. So once you wake up, you can't sleep back again. The waking was supernatural. But if you didn't make any promise or any vow, when he woke you up, you think it's by luck you're waking up. So you sleep back, yes? But if there was a promise, you remember there's a promise. Because we make vague promises. As a lawyer and all those who know, when things are unclear, there's so much room for contention. Your mind will play games. You know why? One reason for vows? Because we tend to forget when circumstances change. We are fickle. Vows help us be firm. You said you would give 50% of your income. You said it. Just do it. No, during this season. And what are you talking about? Did you make a promise? No, I didn't make a promise. That's why you should make a promise. You've heard some of the examples, even the financial one. And God does what he promises. He does what he promises. That is, he does his part of the deal. So it is very wrong if you now don't do. Like you're just treacherous. And treachery is not something God smiles on simply. You know that? You know what he said he picked Judas, right? He said that the Son of Man must die, must go. But woe to him through whom he goes. You know how you want to think that, but Jesus had to die now. Your pastor can preach and point out how it had to be. It had to be. If he didn't die, where would we be? In spite of that, Jesus said, but the man responsible for it, it's better he was not born. For those of you that a voice tells you that, don't worry, God is just using me to advance a higher purpose, be very careful. Because in spite of the higher purpose that Judas had to fulfill, in spite of my messages on how, will you do it? Leave Judas to this job. Leave Judas. Do you want Peter to do it, or James or John? Now sounds like it's true. There's no problem. No, there's a problem still. The question is why you are available. In other words, there's still personal responsibility. There's nothing like total sovereign will. In the sovereignty of God, his son must die. But the degree of authority you had over yourself to be this greedy Judas and be greedy enough for Satan to enter you and you sell my son out, it's better you were not born. Can you hold those two things together? Or must you throw away one? No. You can have a right and a left hand. The Son of Man, Matthew 26:24. Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been. This is no small thing. Everyone here, no matter what you think is your excuse for being a stumbling block or misbehaving. Oh, yes, it worked for good. Pastor has stressed that all things work together for good. Be very careful that you are the vessel of wrath. Be very careful. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. That's what he said. And we know that they do not bear the sword in vain. They give me a sword to bear. But he also said they will die by that sword. The principle of sowing and reaping is still real. And if you had any doubts, all you have to do is read your Bible and look at how Judas lived to a ripe old age or not. He didn't. The fellow was dead before they nominated a new person. How many of you know Jesus was around for 40 days and left in 50? So Judas was dead in less than 2 months. Except I'm mistaken, except it didn't happen before they picked Matthias. That's not a good thing. That's really bad. But it had to be done. Why do you nominate yourself? Don't nominate yourself to be the traitor. God does not like treachery. Treachery is extremely offensive to all, including God. Don't make rash promises. In Judas deciding to follow Jesus, then backstabbing him in the back and doing that, he did something that should not be done. I am going to give you areas that we are going to likely be wise to make vows about. 1, sleep. 2, speech. 3, prayer. 4, time management. 5, work. 6, giving. 7, repentance. 8, integrity. 9, obedience to scripture. 10, humility and teachability. 11, purity. 12, perseverance. Take note, people, that you're not vowing the outcome. You're vowing obedience. Know what an outcome is? You can't vow an outcome. You don't know what will happen. Your vow is to obey. The outcome of your obedience, only God knows, yeah? You know what you used to vow when you said you will not commit any moral act again? You're vowing an outcome. That's why you said, if God followed you, you'll be dead, yes? You can't vow an outcome, you vow obedience. The outcome is in God's hands. So you don't make a vow, God, by the end of this year, I'll lead so and so people to Christ. Do you understand? I've led 500 people to Christ. No, you can vow and say, God, 5 days or 7 days a week, I'll preach to at least 2 people or 1 person. Can you see the vow? The outcome of preaching to 1 person per day is not in your hands. Now your job is to do what you vowed. Now where you don't want to make it rash is you don't want to say you preach to 1 person every day when there might be periods of 7 days when you went aside and were seeking God alone in a room. How are you preaching? That's how you pull out your phone and say, I want to fulfill my vow. Is that not confusion? So rashness will cause a problem. So you draft it. So when you put the exceptions, provisos, yes, to the vow. Are you saying that's why writing is important? Yes? Good. And the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Safety. People, you've looked at the list. I know the first 7 is what you really need. The rest you're like, well, because they are intangibles. This one is our address. This is where we live. The first 7. That's where we live. I want you to expand the list in the first 7. Give me what you know concerns us. Bible reading. Where did I put it there? I didn't put it specifically. Yeah, that's true. So we put that very direct, and those are the things we need. So if you can go there and enter under 7, and what else? That's time management. So put after time, MGT. Anyone can think of? Eating habits. Okay. Eating habits. By that, what do you mean? That's all that stuff about I won't eat after this time and that. Healthy eating. Okay, yeah. Number 9, eating habits. Yes. Another. Social media. Even though you're going to find out that if you do some like time management, well, and work and prayer and Bible study, there are things that'll just be pushed outside. They just, it's not that I've not looked at you, but I'm coming. That's the truth. And that's the power. And you see, and I don't want you to go making 1,000 vows. If you make 1 or 2, you just see the magic. Vows create focus. They make you very focused. All right. I want to stop here, talk a little prayer and be going, but understand this. Our vows are not to be emotional promises. They are discipline boundaries. Yes. They must be specific. Yes. Specific. I've said that. I said that they are not emotional promises. They are discipline boundaries. That's what I said earlier. They must be specific. 1, 2, they must be measurable. You can measure how much you're doing over 10. What will you score yourself there? They should be sustainable, not something that cannot be done more than once. I'm promising God 200,000. How much do you earn? 50. You say your salary is 50,000 and you vow to give God 200 every month. 200,000. Okay. How? So that's not sustainable. All right. That's not sustainable. Say no, but I say if God, you can't bribe God like that. Then stop. And they should be scripturally defensible. That is, your vow should be something that you can say this is scriptural. Okay, I don't want good people going and making stupid vows. We've talked about it. It should be something the scriptures support. All right. So concerning sleep, but you understand that having disciplined rest is the thing. Avoiding laziness and exhaustion. Some of you know your problem is you're usually exhausted because you don't handle sleep well. You come to church meetings, you're sleeping. How many of you slept rested and it's like magic? You're so wakeful. Anybody here? That happened? I remember someone that used to be sleeping all the time. They slept and woke up and it's like, what happened here? And all they did was rest. Other than that, every time they came to church, a new member, he was always sleeping. And when they told him, tell him to rest, sleep. He said, I have much to do. And then one day, his eyes were wide open. And I asked, and the person following him up said that, he said he slept early, whether by 12, as opposed to 2, 3, whatever. These things are real. So such a person, you don't vow that you will be awake in church. Are you hearing? That's not a vow. That's crazy. Who knows what the vow is? Don't say sleep early. Remember, it has to be specific. So what's 10 or 11, depending on the person. Again, what does it take to not be sleeping in church? How long? When do you wake up? You know when you sleep and when you wake up. This is how. Are you understanding? If you need 6 hours or you want to do 7 or 6:30, 6 hours, 30 minutes, good. So at latest, I must be asleep by 11 if I intend to wake up by 5 and pray. So if the vow is that I vow that I will wake up by 5 and pray, okay? Attendant to that vow might be another vow. How many of you have tried to vow the wake up when it hasn't worked? Who knows the vow to make? The sleep vow. Are you seeing? We are going to fight intelligently. We are fighting to win. So the vow is when you will go to bed. And then what else can you do to help you keep the vow? Turn off your phone, this and that. Set it to blah, blah, blah. How many of you, if you turn off the phone, you can on it again? Let's not go deeper than that. So what else can you do? Keep it in another room, give it someone else. Blah, blah. What else? Who remembers that you just remember something? I'll just send this thing then. And that was it. The beginning of the end. Yes. Accountability partners. Yes. In fact, those will be the biggest vows. The biggest vows will be the vows to be accountable. Not in everything in your life, not in long reports. Some people, it will be every day. You must send in. The vow will be, I won't eat if I haven't sent in my report for yesterday, which will be written out in bullet points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe the hours. Time is the big deal, and time management, we're going to have it written out in hours. From this time to this time, what you did from this time, short sentences, huh? So 6 to 7, you woke up by 5. 5 is your time to wake up. 5 to 6 is prayer time. So you write there. If you did not pray during that time, you were still sleeping. You write there, sleep. Are you seeing it? 6 to 7 was supposed to be for you to, what? Talk to me. Chores. But you didn't do chores. You were still sleeping. Or that's when you did your devotion. So you wrote there, devotion. Yes? 7 to 8 was when you were to have a bath, get ready, tidy up things, and leave the house by 7:15 or 7:30. But what were you doing? Some chores. Or sometimes you didn't do the chores. You say you did it later. So you wrote there, prepared and left for work. So what's missing? Chores. It's clear that I didn't do your chores. It's obvious. How many of you know if you did that on Monday and it's being seen on Monday or by Tuesday, that your likelihood of repeating it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is out because your accountability partner, your shepherd, whoever is talking to your house said, so she didn't do her chore. All right, so what's the fine you normally fine? All right, so you take 300. Okay, I'll speak to her boss. They'll remove 1,000 naira from. How many of you know you will be a righteous person? Can you see righteousness rolling down like injustice, like rivers, to roll like river? Now remember what was the vow? I won't eat till I send in that report. Can you see yourself forgetting to eat? Who can see himself forgetting to eat? So that is how you make a vow. You tie it to something. It cannot be removed. Of course, you tell the person dishing the food, when I come, in case I forget, something do me, I forget. Always ask me, have you sent the report? And this report is something that can be done in 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3. Remember, it's wise to be doing it during the day. So you don't say, I forget, I don't know, I can't remember. What do I think this year is? I think this year is going to be the answer to prayers that many have prayed for years. You'll be walking on water. And it will happen not because it's magic, but because finally we picked up our weapons. We rolled off the bed. The lazy man got up and trimmed his garden. Are you understand? He fixed his roof. You just sit there and say, well, the roof has fallen now. What are you blaming me for again? It has happened. No. You will do things about it. And you'll find out the power of being a doer as opposed to being a hearer only. Understanding that being disciplined in resting affects everything is enough reason for the workers in this house to make very strong vows about very strong. I know sometimes we don't have the wisdom or grace on how to handle it.